On tonight's episode of BZN TV, we're talking to Natasha Paris, an award-winning screenwriter who is using her creativity to explore esoteric themes and encouraging us to question the way we view the world.
Is the most wonderful time.
Strangely enough, I feel compelled to go see what I can find.
I should not have said remember. I should have said live.
What the is wrong with you anyway? I'm bipolar. I thought we already covered that.
I play WoW. I'm a level 58 shaman.
Wow.
Oh my god, you're gonna have your baby in a gas station.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. You had some stuff bleeding. Tampons coming out the baby.
Oh, look here. Just take everything you need.
I killed someone.
You're in now.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm safe. I live in a perfect and abundant world.
Oh, yeah.
So, what's your sign?
Altogether, your productions have screened at over 18 film festivals.
Mr. Jones.
We're here with award-winning screenwriter Natasha Paris, and we're talking about creativity and pursuing your dreams. Natasha, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So, Natasha, you have been a screenwriter for so long. Tell us about how you got started.
Oh, wow. Well, it was a snowy snowstorm.
Oh, hey, we're going all the way to the beginning here.
Yes, I was 12 years
snowy
old.
Day. Are you being for real?
I was serious.
Okay.
It was Canada. So.
And where did you grow up in Canada?
Montreal.
Okay.
Montreal. And those timeshare things, my mother just went for those half an hour session you spend and you get a timeshare. So she did that. But then when we went, it was a snowstorm.
Okay.
And so we had nothing to do. It was the same movie playing over and over. And so I got bored and I decided I just had this inspiration of doing a comic book. So I just started drawing and did a comic book, and that lasted for about 2 years. And I had so many stories that I didn't have the time to draw them all.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So then I had to change medium, and I changed to screenwriting the movies because it just seemed the next medium to go to. Yeah, so that's how I started.
That's amazing. So when you first got started, I know that you started working with BBR Productions in Montreal.
Yeah.
Tell us about your first job in the industry.
Oh, well, it was even before because I went to university for that. And so I was a screenwriter at first, and I studied in screenwriting. And then soon enough, I realized, well, if I want to be known as a screenwriter, I have to make a product. Mm-hmm. And so I decided to realize my first project and produce it. And so we did.
What was your first project?
It was called Solitude. It was
okay.
18 minutes long. But it made it through a bunch of festivals.
What was your inspiration behind Solitude?
Oh, it was my mother.
Okay. All right, now we're getting to the good stuff. So, yes. In Solitude, that sounds very intense.
It was intense. Yeah. I had some people that couldn't watch it. They were like, "This is too much for me." Yeah. But it's actually very simple, but yeah, it's very emotional.
So is it based on your mother's life, or?
No, it was just an inspiration. I was just growing up, and my mother was like, "Oh, I'm all alone, come visit." I was living out of the house already. So she was just trying to get attention. And it was just that to capture them, and it's not related to my mom, but to capture the moment of when when you become crazy. Where can you come? Yeah, the switch. When can you do the switch? Just to see that flicker. And so that was it. So it's the story of a middle-aged woman that's very lonely. Her kids are far away, and she finds this daughter she thinks it's a daughter she lost, that she gave birth to, and so she thinks she rediscovered her. She tries to see her and all that, and And I don't know if I should say the end. It's online.
Can we access it? Okay, where can people watch it? Let's not give away the end.
It's on YouTube.
Okay, so watch on YouTube, then come back to us.
Yes.
So
the quality's bad, but the story's good.
Okay, the story's good. She's gonna do a remake later.
Yes.
So, have you found that screenwriting has allowed you to explore different topics and to go in different directions that, you know, in daily life it's not always accepted, or we're not always able to really express that within ourselves?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm for the longest time I've been a very reserved person, so it was a good way to explore, you know, new worlds and new, you know, just play around with the world by writing. Yes. When I was a teenager, that's mostly what I did. Everywhere I went, I just wrote. I had a napkin, I would write. You know, I had 5 minutes, I had something. I always had paper and pen. You know, they used to ask me what's, you know, that typical question, if you were stuck in an island and you had one item to bring, what would it be? You know, it was always a pen.
Like a pen.
Paper. Yeah.
And I'm already doing it, so I don't even need it. Yeah.
So it's always been like that. But yeah, and more, now it's the other way around. I more assimilate what I feel and what I go through into my screenplay, and even more than that, I realize that what I'm working on is also what I'm working on in life.
Yes.
You know, so it's very
always
intertwined.
a parallel there.
Yes.
And you've written a lot about like the zodiac and karma.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about that right after this commercial break. So Natasha, in your work, you explore a lot of different philosophical themes, and you write about the zodiac and karma. Can you share some of those ideas that you have with us?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I was born in a world, in a world, I could say. In a world.
I love it. We're already writing. We're so poetic here. I like it.
Where my mother was an astrologer, and she was very into esoteric subjects.
Interesting.
Occult and stuff like that. She is a Rosicrucian. My father was a Freemason. So I was really in that world. So
you're around a lot of spiritual things growing up.
Yes, exactly. So for me, it's just natural, and to get out of that world.
Yeah.
And then you're like, nobody else uses it, you know, and why not? Because it's so powerful. There's so many things we learn. And it's mostly entertainment, but it's been there way before a lot of things, even science, even before that. People use it as science before. And so I believe my mission is to bring it back and to help people.
We should have had you read my cards on the air. What are we thinking? Oh my gosh. Is it like a specific type of cards that you need? Or is it any type of cards?
I do the tarot cards of Marseille, just because it's the original ones. But really, you can do any cards. I've been playing around the angel cards as well.
Really?
Yes,
when did that start?
Yes. About a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. I really like those. And then...
what about with like the 4 agreements cards?
The 4, you know, I haven't played with those. Yeah.
I have some here.
Ooh.
Do you want to try it?
Sure.
Let's try it. Okay, so after this commercial break, Natasha is going to read my cards.
Ooh.
So Natasha, you use your work to explore a lot of different philosophical themes, from karma to the tarot. Will you share some of your philosophies with us?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I believe that there's a whole world we don't know about. That we know about, but we don't know enough about.
Like energy and...
Yes, we kind of hearsay. We're like, oh, this is, you know, for crazy people, for crazy cat ladies, you know. But really, it used to be the world, you know.
Yeah.
That's how they did agriculture. That's how they survived. That's how they knew winter was coming, you know, stuff like that. So I think there's much more to our world that we let it be.
Right. So I read one of your screenplays.
Yes.
That was about karma.
Yes.
And it was so amazing. And like I told you, I couldn't stop thinking about it for weeks. It was so good. So tell us about where did you get that from, and what is your personal belief when it comes to karma?
Well, my personal belief, it's really, I believe, you know, a bit like the Buddhists, like whatever you do, there's a consequence. A bit like the butterfly effect, you know, everything you do has a consequence, but also there's something that is kind of fate. that we're predestined. So it's kind of pre-organized a little bit. So it's a little bit of both.
I like that.
Yeah.
So Natasha, what is the project that you are the most proud of?
Oh wow! They're all like kids, So I'm proud
You
of
love
them
them all in different ways. Huh?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Each have their unique aspect. I have one about the zodiac daters, so it's really unique. It's a romantic comedy. It's about astrology.
I love it. Will you give us a little tidbit about that?
Yes. Well, it's basically the story of a guy that gets dumped because he doesn't believe in astrology. And so he's a writer, and he's like, well, let's figure out what it's all about. So he decides to date a woman of each sign.
Oh, interesting.
To figure it out. Yeah. And through that, there's one girl that figures out what he's doing. She gets pissed. Of course, the Scorpio.
I was just going to say, I was going to try to guess. Wait, what's the guy? Hold on.
He's a
Gemini.
Scorpio.
Oh, he's a Scorpio?
He's a Scorpio.
Okay.
That's why, he doesn't get it because he's always, if you know anything about astrology, Scorpios are always picked on like being the worst sign, which is not true, but that's what they got their reputation.
Yeah.
And so that's why he's a Scorpio, and the Scorpio finds him, and she goes into war against him, and through that he finds love.
Well,
with someone else.
Oh, not the other Scorpio.
Not the other Scorpio. Yeah.
Who does he find love with? What sign?
Well, it's the Ophiuchus sign.
Wait, so do you believe in that? That things shifted?
I don't, because it's not really like that. That it's, it doesn't really affect. That's NASA it's a new constellation, but there's so many constellation and all that. But it's really about the 12 signs and how it is, and so it hasn't shifted in my opinion. Although I'm not super, it could be, but it still works without it.
So what's your sign?
I'm a Capricorn.
Okay. Do you remember my sign?
Or
can you guess it?
No.
No.
Pisces?
Nope. No? Because you think I'm really emotional?
No. Because of the spiritual. That's why.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we will be right back with my sign after this break.
Yes.
So, Natasha, one of my favorite things about your writing is that you like to use spiritual themes. And you grew up with your mother doing the tarot,
That's
right? As a tarot card
astrology.
reader. Astrology.
Numerology. And
all that fun stuff.
Yes.
Okay, so can you guess my zodiac sign?
Let me see. What do you like to do for fun?
Well, I love doing BZN TV and connecting with other people, talking about our dreams and goals, and I love my friends. I love writing. Your screenwriting class, that was fun.
Okay.
I don't know. What else?
Do you, would you say you're a person that you have a goal, you pursue it? Are you more,
Yes.
Okay, are you more direct, or you go
Like, do I avoid it, or
yeah,
what do you mean?
Well, you take your time, you swirl around, you go this way, distracted, or you're more focused and you know what you want?
If I really want it, then yeah, it's pretty much a straight shot.
Okay. And would you say you're more stubborn or critical of yourself?
Yes, I can be pretty critical of myself. I hold myself to a super high standard that I have to work on, which, BZN and the meditations. I like to do a lot of compassion meditations. That really helps. So yeah, I have a tendency to be like that.
Virgo?
Oh my goodness, you're so right. So Natasha, when you write your screenplays, what does your creative process look like?
Well, I personally, since I like to dabble in esoteric subject, I start with a subject. I start with a theme. And so I will do a lot of research before I get started.
How long do you usually take to do that research?
Well, it depends on the theme, the subject. I have one that I'm working on that's about tarot cards, actually. That's the backdrop, yeah. But it's also about race and back into not segregation time, but just after when liberation. So I grew up in Canada, so obviously for me it's a bit different, and so I have to do a lot of research how it was in the South. But as a biracial person, I want to talk about that, and I want to connect with all the people that are not being spoken about, because we hear about the conversation of black and white, but what about the middle? You know,
Right.
what about the middle? And that's why I want to talk about it. And obviously, I have to integrate some esoteric stuff. So I will start research, do all the research I can get. I have my story. I will do the outline, and I will do research according to with what I need for the outline, and then it all comes together, and then I start writing. Yeah.
So when you write, typically, like, what does that look like? Like, do you spend a whole day writing, or do you write here and there to fit into your schedule?
Yes, I'm a mom.
Yeah, like, how do you do it?
So I do it when I can. Yeah. So when I'm not working, I'll write. When I have an hour, I'll write. You know, whenever I have a little bit of time. Sometimes I have. It's so, you know, it's bigger than me. I have to write. I'll wake up and just go write at night. You know.
Well, and you're speaking at after a screening of Half the Picture that we're doing this Friday, and one of the things in that film, the women are talking about how it's really difficult to juggle all those responsibilities and taking those breaks to, you know, be a mom or do those other things that you have to do. Do you ever find it difficult to, you know, break up the creative process in that way?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you just kind of try to, like, get back into it?
Yeah. Well, the trick that I have found, and I think I mentioned that in the class, is to stay with the story.
Okay.
And it's kind of contrary to enlightenment, because you have to be in the now. But in the story, if you stay with the story, you're always inspired and you always see things. So you're always writing in your head. So when it's time to be able to write it down, to sit down and write down, then you can do it because it's already with you and you have inspiration and it's always there. So that's how I've been able to do it.
So when you're going about your daily life, like when you're driving or picking the kids up from school or making dinner, and you have an idea, do you have like a notebook with you, or do you like record it on your phone? Or
On my phone, yes.
do you like voice record it?
Sometimes, but I find that really difficult. What I like to use is more the voice, you know, that types.
When it types.
Yeah, exactly.
What app do you use for that?
The phone. I just do notes. Really, I'll put notes in there because it's easier to find, to go through, than if I record myself and then I have 5 minutes to listen, and then I don't have those 5 minutes, you know. So it's easier to try and write it down instead. Yeah.
Well, we will be right back with more from Natasha after this break. So, Natasha, what is one thing that you would like aspiring screenwriters to know about the industry?
You know, we hear a lot about writing your truth and writing what you know. But I think it's probably the other way around nowadays because information is so accessible. It's actually, you can just write about what you want to talk about and find the answers. So just research it. So don't be limited to what you know, but more what you can know.
So, Natasha, tell us about your latest project.
Well, I'm working on a few projects at the same time, always. But currently we have one that's about to go in crowdfunding. It's called The Lump. And it's a local story. It's a true story.
What's it about?
It's a story about a male gynecologist that got breast cancer. It's a comedy. And October is breast cancer. Yeah, exactly. Okay. I didn't know men could have breast cancer when I heard that story. So it's and the comedy in it is that because he's a gynecologist, he's been telling all his patients, "Oh, it doesn't hurt," and then he finds out it does hurt. You know.
So this is a true story.
It is a true story. It's a doctor in Fort Worth.
And is he all right
Dr.
now?
Alan John. Yes, he's all right.
He's alive and well.
In the 90s, and so he's perfectly good and still practicing. And so we did a trailer. You can find it on my website. And he's in it as well.
Oh,
so,
great!
Yeah, and he was there when we filmed the fiction part. Yeah.
Well, that you know what, you never cease to amaze us with all of your creative ideas. So we will keep following you. And where can we find more about what you're working on?
You can find everything on my website, lunaluzproductions.com.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. This was great.
So often we get carried away with our to-do lists. And we start living in a state that is so mentally involved that we can forget to listen to that quiet voice inside. Expressing and connecting with our creative energy helps us to really authentically be the people that we're meant to be in this world. So if you have a creative vision and want to connect with it, be sure to honor that. Thank you for joining us for this episode of BZen TV. We'll see you next time.